Audio on demand from Vision Christian Media.
We have begun to explore some of the teachings and some of the history that we can read in the book of Joshua. As you know, Joshua led the children of Israel into the promised land. And Camille, a lot of things you can learn from this book. How should we look at those things by way of a summary of what we'll look at over the coming days?
Great question, Neil. Let me tell you what the book of Joshua offers. For me personally, its theme is be strong and of a good courage. Or in other words, be strong and courageous. We need this exhortation today like we've never needed it before. And Joshua will teach us exactly that. It will give us what it calls classic lessons in faith and courage. In addition, Joshua is the fulfillment of a covenantal promise that the Lord made with Abraham a few centuries earlier. And so it tells you how to take hold of the promises of God. After all, we have a Bible that is literally thousands of years old, and yet the promises are still valid, still alive, still wonderful. Joshua, the book, shows us how we can appropriate them. Then we have this most amazing story of grace and favor of God on the most unlikely person you can imagine, a harlot named Rahab. Oh, there's some amazing faith lessons when we talk about the story of Rahab in Joshua chapter 2.
Camille, is this one of the reasons why this is often favourite reading in the Old Testament, the book of Joshua, because there's such a role model there of courage, and there is such a role model there of faith in those characters you're talking about?
Well, Joshua does provide some great Sunday school stories, of course, like the walls of Jericho falling down, or the sun standing still over Gibeon and the moon over Ajalon, and things like that. But I also, look, it's action-packed, that's for sure. It's not just a recitation of the law of Moses. Things are happening in the book of Joshua. The Jordan River is parting. Jericho's walls are falling. The Canaanites are on the run. And there's even this bizarre incident where Joshua makes unwittingly a covenant with Canaanite people he's meant to destroy. He doesn't consult the Lord, but once the deal has been made, God expected him to keep it. And then we find that in the very next chapter, Joshua is in this bizarre situation of having to bail out that Canaanite group, they're called the Gibeonites, from other Canaanites. I mean, it's in that sense almost like slapstick comedy. But the book of Joshua is a wonderful transition from the promise given to the promise fulfilled. And look, there's so much more we can learn, that little things can facilitate great disaster, as you'll see in Joshua chapter 7 with the sin of Achan. We also must embrace the holy and shun the profane. We mix the profane with the holy these days, and it's getting us into a lot of strife. Joshua tells us, make a separation. And look, we learn how Jesus is like Joshua. In fact, they have very much the same name, Yehoshua and Yeshua, how he leads us to our desired haven.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.